This is a pretty seismic event. A first-term government extending its majority is what we're looking at the moment, but also an opposition leader losing his seat. I mean, John Howard obviously did in 2007. And I might get some thoughts from Tony Barry and Constamaris and PK on this as well, just the significance of this. Tony, Peter Dutton losing his seat, was that on your bingo card?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Peter had to get a very high primary vote because he had everyone preferencing against him, so he did something in the high 40s. He had 42% last time. But I think the real issue here is obviously Trump had a massive effect in changing people's perceptions about risk assessments. And when you're voting for an opposition, there's a risk involved. And at a time of global instability where it's 9/11 or COVID, people want to go for the incumbent. So incumbency worked against governments up until very recently, the last couple of years.
Thanks to Donald Trump, that's flipped.
That's flipped.
What about things like nuclear?
Yeah, nuclear was. So I'm not suggesting that the coalition were having a great campaign until Trump came along with tariffs and sent this sort of shockwave through the community about their superannuation balances, which have all taken a hit. But certainly the coalition were having a very poor campaign that turbocharged it. But the stick that they gave to Paul Erickson to beat them to death with was nuclear energy. And it's a $600 billion claim, which, was tenuous at best. But that scare campaign was incredibly effective on our polling when we put that proposition to voters. 56% agreed with the proposition that nuclear energy, the $600 billion plan, would come at the cost of Medicare and education.
So those adverts, he cuts, you pay, they were devastating.
Devastating.
Yeah, I think it's a bit deeper as well. I don't think the Trump factor is as simple as Trump got elected and instability meant everyone thought, the coalition is frightening. If you look at the last week we had alone, Sarah, we have had the coalition spend days off message talking about welcome to countries, talking about the voice again. When everyone's pretty much finished with that, the country spoke, the Prime Minister settled it. I spoke to some very senior Labor, campaigners today saying to me, at this key time where voters were making their minds up, and there were a lot of undecided voters, they heard Peter Dutton talking about welcome to country and culture wars. And I think it's been diabolical for their campaign. They have barely been able to stay on message. Every single day, they have struggled to talk about the economy and cost of living when all of your research for many months, as you've told me, Tony, has been it is the only thing that matters. Labor made the case for the future. It wasn't just a referendum in the last 3 years. It was how you were going to be better off in the future. They recast the question. That question,
please subscribe my channel
not really,
if you
but I think I might be
if you
better
are
off for the next
Labour
3
Party
years.
supporter.
It's been diabolical for Peter Dutton.
Thank you.
And I'm not surprised he's lost his own very marginal seat.
You're right, PK, because that is the remarkable turnaround. It was so potent everywhere else. The fall in disposable income was still a figure they used here, but managed to turn it round.
Well, they changed the conversation, Sarah. I mean, Labor successfully, and Jim's next to you, he's been part of that story. They recast it, they made the case. The coalition going to the election telling us they were going to increase